Have you noticed how you're draining yourself by trying to control life and forcing things to go your way, holding on to something that slips through your fingers? Tell me, what has it brought so far? Peace, happiness, or just frustration? I'll be honest with you, life doesn't work like that. Stop trying to control the uncontrollable, take a deep breath, and live with calmness. Stoic philosophy teaches us something many don't understand. True power lies in accepting what we cannot control. This isn't giving up, it's wisdom. It's about clearly choosing where it's worth putting your energy. Today, I want to show you how letting go of the fight against what's inevitable can free your mind and heart. I'll show you how to let life follow its own pace, without unnecessary struggles, no pressure, just peace. Because true freedom begins the moment you decide to stop fighting and accept. Seek this change. Stay with me. If you're new here, subscribe and like this video. Let's get started. Live for today. Tomorrow is uncertain. Have you ever felt the weight of living waiting for tomorrow? As if happiness, forgiveness, or even the courage to act always needed just one more day to come. Let me tell you a simple truth, but one that can touch your soul. All you have is now, this moment, this breath, this instant happening. As you listen to these words, life is a breath, a delicate balance between what has been and what hasn't arrived yet. How many times have we postponed what matters most? The I love you that stays inside, the hug that never happens, the dreams locked in a dusty drawer. Why? Because we think time will wait for us, but it doesn't. Time just passes. The Stoics taught us a deep lesson, but one that frees us. Memento mori. Remember that you will die. Not as a threat, but as a call to wake up. There's nothing stronger than realizing that every moment is unique and doesn't come back, that every smile, every word, every choice is an irreplaceable part of your story. So, what are you waiting for? Why do you keep postponing the life you deserve to live? The forgiveness you need to give, the step you should have taken long ago, that later you always promise, might never come. The people you love won't be here forever, and neither will you. Today you have a gift in your hands, the now, and it's all that matters. Look around, feel the air entering your lungs, listen to the sounds of the world. Realize that in this exact moment, you're alive. This isn't a small miracle. It's the greatest of all. Life isn't waiting for the future. It's here now. In this moment, you can fill with purpose, with love, with truth. So stop, look inside yourself and ask, what would I do if there was no tomorrow? Who would I hug? What would I say? What fear would I let go of? What dream would I take out of the drawer? Don't wait any longer. Live as if each day were the only one, because deep down, it is. Tomorrow isn't guaranteed, but today is here, and it's your chance to make it count. Don't leave for later what your heart is asking for now. Embrace life as it is, imperfect, fleeting, but incredibly precious. And when you close your eyes at the end of the day, may your soul whisper in peace, today, I lived. Letting go isn't weakness, it's the courage to start over. Letting go is one of the toughest things we face in life, not because our hands don't know how to release, but because our heart insists on holding on. It's giving up what once made sense and facing the silence left behind. But you know what? That silence isn't the end. It's the beginning of something greater, the courage to start over. Often we insist on holding on to what no longer belongs to us, a relationship that lost its essence, a dream that no longer moves our soul, or even a version of ourselves that no longer fits. Why? Because we're afraid. Afraid of loss, afraid of failure, afraid of not knowing what comes next. But holding on to what's broken doesn't protect us. It only prolongs the pain. Letting go isn't quitting, it's accepting. Accepting that life is made of moments, and there's no force in the world that can hold on to what needs to leave. It's the courage to say, this doesn't define who I am anymore. I allow myself to begin again. Letting go is an act of self-love. It's recognizing that you don't need to carry the weight of the past to build the future. Your strength isn't in fighting the current, but in letting it carry you. Because only those who have the courage to let go of the old are capable of embracing the new. Yes, it's painful. But do you know what's more painful? Living stuck in something that suffocates you, that drains you, that stops you from growing. Letting go is the liberation of the soul. The moment you look at life and say, I trust what's coming. I'm ready to start over. Starting over isn't a step backward. It's a leap forward. It's proof that you believe in yourself, that even in the emptiness, you know you can create something new, something better, something that truly fulfills you. So, look inside yourself. What are you holding on to that you should have let go of? What fear is still holding you back? Know that letting go is an act of courage, not weakness. And when you finally release it, you'll feel what your heart has been asking for: lightness, freedom, and peace. Letting go isn't the end. It's the beginning of a life truly worth living. So, leave your mark by writing, "This year, I will live with peace, without pressure." Because, after all, you deserve that. Enjoy the journey. The result is just a detail. We live in a world obsessed with achievements. We are taught to chase goals, reach results, and prove our worth. But in the middle of this race, how many times have you stopped to enjoy the path? How many times have you looked around, noticed what you already have, what you've already achieved, what's happening right now? Right now, the truth is that focusing solely on the destination steals the essence of life. Life isn't in the moment you cross the finish line. It's in every step that takes you there. It's in the good days, the bad ones, the stumbles, and the small victories you often don't notice. Imagine a traveler who only thinks about the end of the journey. He doesn't look out the window, doesn't feel the wind on his face, doesn't talk to anyone along the way. He's so fixated on the destination that he misses the actual experience of traveling. Life is the same. If you only live for the result, you miss what really matters: the journey. Enjoying the journey means being present. It means finding joy in the process, even if it's slow, imperfect, or tough. It's appreciating the conversations, the lessons, the mistakes, and the discoveries. It's realizing that every moment has something to offer if you're willing to see it. The result, no matter how big it seems, is just a moment. Think of a goal you reached in the past, something you worked hard for. What stands out most in your memory? The exact moment you succeeded or everything you lived through to get there? The result is an accomplishment, yes, but the journey is where you truly live, grow, and change. And here's the most interesting part. When you learn to enjoy the path, the weight of the result lessens. It stops being an obsession and becomes a natural outcome. You start freeing yourself from the anxiety of getting there and begin to be fascinated by being here. So stop for a moment. Where are you right now? What are you learning, feeling, living? Maybe it's not perfect, but it's yours. And it's exactly here, in this moment, that life happens. Enjoying the journey is an act of courage. It's resisting the pressure to live only for the future and finding beauty in the present. Because in the end, when everything passes, what you'll really remember isn't the result, but the path you walked. Life isn't a race, it's a walk. Enjoy every step. If you've made it this far, congratulations. You're here, living in the now. Take a moment to subscribe, like, and share this video with someone who needs to hear this. Let's continue. The art of gratitude. Gratitude is a simple but powerful key that can unlock the deepest doors of the soul. It's not just about saying thank you for something good that happened. It's a state of awareness, an exercise in being present, and above all, a way to find meaning and beauty, even in the toughest parts of life. Being grateful is a choice. It doesn't automatically appear when things are going well, nor does it disappear when we face difficulties. It's a constant invitation to look beyond the obvious, to clearly see what's in front of us, whether big or small, easy or challenging. But here's the thing. Why does gratitude sometimes seem so hard? Maybe because we've been taught to always seek more. We live in a world that teaches us to focus on what's missing, what we haven't achieved yet, what someone else has that we don't, what we think we need to be happy. This obsession with more steals our ability to appreciate the present. The true art of gratitude begins when you pause the race, when you stop chasing something outside of yourself and take the time to notice what's already here. It's the simple act of opening your eyes to things that usually go unnoticed. The taste of a homemade meal, the sound of rain on the roof, the warm hug from someone you care about. And even in the hardest times, those days when life seems to turn its back, there's space for gratitude. Gratitude isn't about ignoring pain, but about finding, in the midst of it, a ray of light. Maybe it's the lesson the struggle brought, or the strength you didn't know you had. Maybe it's the person who held your hand when you had no strength left. Gratitude is a practice, not a passing emotion. It's something you can cultivate every day, like planting seeds in a garden. Over time, it transforms the mind. Where there was once lack, you begin to see abundance. Where there was once complaining, you find reasons to be thankful. Here's a simple example. Try starting and ending your day with a powerful question. What can I be thankful for today? At first, the answer may seem small. I woke up, the day was calm, I got a smile from someone. But over time, you'll realize that the small things are, in fact, the most valuable. Gratitude also connects us with others. When you're grateful, you begin to notice the impact people have on your life in a deeper way. You recognize who's been by your side, who's inspired you, who's done something for you, even if it was small. And by expressing this gratitude, you strengthen bonds and create a positive cycle. The more you give thanks, the more love and connection you receive. Finally, gratitude reminds us of something important. Life is short, full of flaws, but still a gift. Every day you live is a unique opportunity that won't come back. The things you now see as normal, your health, your friendships, even the simple act of breathing, might not be here tomorrow. So why wait to realize how valuable they are? Practicing the art of being thankful is not just an act of optimism. It's a way to live more fully, more attentively, and more connected to the present. It's about deciding, day by day, to see life for what it is, not for what it could or should be. Gratitude doesn't make what we have bigger, but it teaches us to see that what we have is already enough. Learning to enjoy the journey, may we learn bit by bit to enjoy this so human and transformative art. Don't force what you can't control, no pressure, just peace. Have you ever thought that, all the time, you're trying to make life go your way? This is the topic we'll explore in the title of this video. You probably try to control every detail, make things happen just the way you want. And what has that brought you so far? Stress, frustration, and exhaustion. Well, let me tell you something you may not want to hear. We can't control everything, and trying to control what we can't only hurts you inside. Imagine this. You're in a relationship that no longer makes sense, but you keep trying. You try to change the other person, make sacrifices, believing that if you fight hard enough, things will improve. But what happens? Nothing. How do you feel? Anger, frustration, and, in the end, the regret of having wasted time on something you couldn't control. Or maybe you have a project that's stuck, going in circles. You try everything, but with each attempt, the pressure increases. And what does that bring? Anxiety. Your heart races, your mind is restless, and life starts losing its joy. Here's the truth. You're doing it all wrong. Life doesn't work that way. You're trying to swim against the current, and the worst part is you're drowning and don't even notice. When you force what you can't control, you're choosing suffering. Want to know what's stronger than that? The courage to let go. I know it's not easy. I know the urge to control everything is strong. We want our children to follow the right path, for our job to bring us happiness, and for our lives to be perfect. But what if none of that happens as planned? Will you drown trying to force things, or will you learn to go with the flow? Imagine you're holding a rope tied to a boat that's being carried by the current. The harder you pull, the more the rope cuts into your hands, hurts you, and tires you. The boat is the current of life. What you can't hold on to just increases your pain. But what if you let go of the rope? Wouldn't that be freeing? The boat will go its way, and you'll finally find peace. Letting go isn't giving up, it's choosing calm. Stoic philosophy is simple, yet very powerful. It teaches you to recognize what is within your reach and focus on that, without wasting time trying to control what you can't. Accepting the uncontrollable is not weakness, it's wisdom. It doesn't mean giving up on what you want, it means stopping the self-inflicted harm and focusing on what you can truly do now. If you're thinking, I'm strong, I can control everything, the truth is that's a mistake. No control is absolute. Think about the things you can't change, like the death of someone you love or how the world turns. No matter what you want, these are realities we can't control. Fighting against them only tires you and in the end takes you into an emotional hole. True freedom comes when you understand that by letting go, you win. There's no peace in excessive effort, in the anxiety of trying to control the uncontrollable. Peace is in the space you make for the unexpected, for what life has to offer, without having to fight for everything to go your way. Now think, what are you trying to control that's beyond your reach? Let go of that right now. Stop putting pressure on yourself. Stop insisting on something that only hurts you. Make room for real peace, the kind that doesn't come from forcing, but from accepting and letting life unfold in its own time. You'll realize that when you stop forcing, things start to flow your way, and that's what brings true peace. Solitude, the art of being at peace. Have you ever felt that constant weight of the world around you? The endless noise of traffic, the side conversations at your work, the sound of notifications constantly ringing on your phone. Modern life pushes us into an endless cycle of interactions, commitments, and distractions. We're so used to being surrounded by people, tasks, and noise that we forget how valuable silence, solitude, is. This art, often feared and misunderstood, is exactly the chance to find peace amidst the chaos. Imagine yourself on a work morning. The office is bustling, with co-workers talking about their projects, the phone ringing, the sound of keyboards being typed quickly, and coffee being served with that familiar noise. You're there, trying to focus, but it feels like your mind is being overwhelmed by all the outside noise. The atmosphere is tense, the pressure to be productive is stronger than ever, and your energy is scattered everywhere. You feel that among so many voices, maybe the worst noise is the one coming from within you. The anxiety, the feeling of not being enough, the fear of not measuring up. Now imagine you decide to take a step back. You step away from the whirlwind, find a quiet place, or perhaps go for a walk outside. The first moment of silence might feel uncomfortable. The internal noise is loud at first. Thoughts are racing. Your mind is craving more stimuli, more tasks. But it's at this moment that the magic begins to unfold. Over time, you'll realize that solitude isn't the end of the world, but a necessary space to regain your balance. True solitude isn't just about being alone. It's about being at peace with yourself, free from others' expectations and the pressure of your surroundings. At work, for example, we're constantly pressured to be faster, more efficient, more connected. The endless meetings, emails, and instant messages demand our attention, as if our energy were a currency constantly being asked for. The art of solitude. But who are we beyond our work? Where is our essence when we're consumed by everything that's imposed on us? By learning to embrace solitude, you begin to realize that, contrary to what the world makes us believe, solitude isn't a burden. It's an opportunity for renewal. In the silence, you can finally hear your own voice, the one that's been drowned out by daily demands. You begin to understand your own feelings, desires, and limits. Solitude is the place where you get the chance to reconnect with what truly matters to you, without external influences. This self-awareness process can be deep and challenging. Often we're afraid of being alone because we face inner issues we've been avoiding. We might fear our own thoughts, our insecurities, or even realizing how far we are from who we truly want to be. But solitude invites this confrontation. It's when you're alone that you find the space to free yourself from others' expectations and begin living for yourself. The peace that comes when you're fully present in the moment, without rushing, without the weight of obligations. Imagine having time just for yourself to reflect, to simply be. And this moment doesn't have to be long. Sometimes just a few minutes of solitude away from external demands can be enough to renew your energy and clear your mind. True solitude isn't about escaping. It's about reconnecting. It's a breath of fresh air in a world that never stops. By finding this inner peace, you become stronger in the face of challenges. The pressures of work, endless conversations, and the demands of daily life begin to lose their power to unsettle you. You learn to respond calmly, to be more grounded, to find clarity even in the midst of chaos. Solitude isn't about isolating yourself from the world, but about learning to live with it in a more mindful and balanced way. The art of being at peace is knowing when to take a step back and care for yourself, realizing that to be your best for the world around you, you first need to be your best for yourself. So, the next time you feel the weight of external voices, the pressure of the world, don't be afraid to take this time for yourself. Solitude, more than a need, is an opportunity. It allows you to find peace where the noise, the rush, and the chaos try to consume you. Embrace these moments as a refuge, where true peace isn't something you search for outside, but something you find within. The freedom of not being a prisoner of expectations. We live in a world where expectations are everywhere. Expectations from society, family, friends, and even ourselves. They are like invisible chains that bind us, telling us who we should be, what we should achieve, and how we should act. But what if true freedom was about breaking free from these expectations? What if the peace we seek was the opposite of being bound to a life that isn't ours, but built by others? Imagine for a moment a bird born to fly, but trapped in a cage with the door open. It looks at the sky, feels the wind, and desires freedom, but hesitates. The fear of flying, the doubt of being accepted, the weight of all the expectations around it hold it back. But what if it could break free from all of that? What if it chose to follow its instincts, its essence? At that moment, it would no longer be a prisoner of expectations, but would become the master of its own fate. That's who we are. Often, we're so immersed in external expectations that we forget who we truly are. The search for approval, the fear of failure, the pressure to meet others' expectations take away our freedom to live fully. We become trapped in a version of ourselves that we didn't choose, but that was imposed on us. When we stop being prisoners of expectations, something powerful happens. We set ourselves free. We are no longer living to please others, nor are we meeting demands that aren't ours. We are finally living for ourselves. As Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, teaches us, it's not things that disturb us, but our opinion of them. This means that the key to freedom lies in how we view what happens to us, and most importantly, in what we choose to accept. Think of someone who has spent years trying to impress coworkers and friends, buying things they didn't need to look successful, a car they couldn't afford, designer clothes that didn't reflect who they truly were, going to places where they never felt comfortable. This person lives stuck in a cycle of appearances, always trying to please others, which only brings emptiness. But what if one day they decided to stop, live simply, prioritize what truly matters, and free themselves from this endless race? The peace that comes from letting go of the masks is transformative. They can finally feel the lightness of being true to themselves, away from the pressures and weight of others' approval. The cynic philosopher, for instance, talks about how we should live according to our own reason and not lose ourselves in external expectations. He says that when we stop seeking validation from the outside and focus on what is within us, we gain unbeatable freedom. And this freedom is not only emotional but also practical. By being true to ourselves, we experience an authenticity that nothing else can provide. Now think about how this applies to your daily life. How many times have you felt pressured to meet expectations that didn't reflect your true self? Perhaps you've compared yourself to someone who seemed always ahead, or forced yourself to be something you didn't really want to be. This constant struggle, this attempt to reach standards that aren't yours, only creates unnecessary weight. But if you pause and reflect on who you truly are, without external influences, you'll see that freedom is within your reach. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to fit into what others expect. You just need to be true to yourself. True freedom doesn't come from controlling the world around you, but from controlling how you respond to it. By learning to live without the chains of expectations, you begin to realize that peace is not outside of you, but inside of you. Every step toward your true essence is a step toward freedom. So, the next time you feel pressured, remember the bird in the cage. The door is open. The only thing you need to do is fly. And, by doing so, you'll discover that true freedom is living without being a prisoner of expectations, living a life that is unique and true to you. Now, after all of this, I'd like to have an honest conversation with you. You know those days when everything falls apart? The traffic, work, pressure, and you feel small, powerless, as if control has slipped through your fingers? The truth is, what holds you back is not the problems themselves, but your attempt to control what can't be controlled. Think of a river. It doesn't fight against the rocks. It doesn't force its path. It flows, bends, and moves forward. And we, many times, struggle against the current, drowning in worries that make no sense. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to us that shakes us, but how we interpret what happens." Strong, right? The world will be chaotic, but your peace lies in how you respond. Seneca reminds us, the greatest obstacle to happiness is expecting everything to align. Life is not about control, but about acceptance. Let go of control and watch how peace can arise. I recall a story about a wise old man who lived in a small village. One day he received a visit from a troubled young man. "Wise man, my son is gone, my wife is ill, my work is a mess, I can't control anything." The wise man looked at him calmly and pointed to a big tree in the distance. "Look at that tree. It's been standing tall for many generations." "Yes, but what does that have to do with my suffering?" asked the young man, still upset. The wise man smiled and replied, "The tree doesn't fight against the wind. It bends, but it never breaks. Just like the tree, we too cannot fight against what we can't control. The key is how we adapt and how we stay strong, even when things seem out of control." What the wise man wanted to show was what Epictetus and Seneca taught. Life, like the wind, will bring hardships, storms, and moments we can't dominate. But our peace, our freedom, comes from accepting this and deciding how to deal with the challenges. It's not about being passive, but understanding that sometimes true strength is knowing where to direct our energy. I know it's not easy, but imagine for a moment if you started facing challenges in a different way. What if, instead of getting lost in frustration, you chose to adjust? What if you surrendered to the flow of life, like the river that doesn't fight against the current? It would be like breathing again, like finally freeing yourself from what holds you back. This is what Epictetus and Seneca believed, that true freedom comes from stopping the attempt to control everything around us. When we accept the uncontrollable, we begin to find peace. It doesn't matter what happens to you, but how you choose to react. So, the next time the uncontrollable comes your way, don't lose yourself. Take a deep breath. See the situation as an opportunity to learn how to flow, and remember, the river doesn't fight the water, it just goes with it. And that is true freedom. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I'm not saying you won't face challenges, but how you choose to react, how you handle tough moments, that is completely within your control. And that's where the real key lies. Not in changing everything around you, but in changing how you respond to it all. I know many of you are going through tough times. We all have our struggles. Maybe you're dealing with something you can't control, something that hurts deeply and feels like there's no way out. But I invite you to take a step back and reflect. What is truly in your hands? What can you change about yourself? Sometimes, the greatest power we have is our own attitude in the face of the storm. You don't have to be strong all the time. You don't need to have everything under control every second. Sometimes the greatest strength is simply allowing yourself to not know, to not have all the answers, and to accept what comes. Because by doing that, you start finding peace in the middle of the chaos. And believe me, it's there, available for you. I know it's not easy to change overnight. No one's saying it will be quick or simple to start acting this way. But imagine a life where the weight of unnecessary worries no longer holds you down. A life where you gradually learn to be more flexible in the face of challenges, lighter in your choices, and more present in every moment life gives you. This life, full of peace and meaning, isn't just a distant dream. It's within your reach. And you know what the best part is? There's nothing, no one, that you need to start. There's no perfect moment or right day. The perfect moment is right now, here. All you need to do is take the first step, no matter how small, and make space for this transformation. Because deep down, it all begins with you. It's a choice, a commitment to yourself. The question is, are you ready to allow yourself to truly live? If so, then today is already the first day of this new journey. If you've made it this far, congratulations. You're here, truly present in the now, living this moment. And that's something rare, to be fully immersed in reflection, seeking something that touches the soul and makes sense in the heart. If you've reached this point, right to the end to mark your presence. Take this moment, since we're on this journey together, to subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and of course, share this video with someone who needs to hear this. On the screen, you'll see other videos filled with power and wisdom from Stoic philosophy. Choose one, and I'll be waiting for you there.